Donald Trump has never entered a room quietly. Long before he entered the White House, his presence announced itself. Loud, unmistakable, and impossible to ignore. Gold letters on skyscrapers. Headlines written in capital letters. A name that became a brand, then a provocation, and eventually a political force that reshaped the world. To understand Donald Trump, you have to accept one thing first. There is no single version of him. There are many. He was born in 1946 in Queens, New York, into a family that already understood power. His father, Fred Trump, was a disciplined real estate developer who built middle-class housing and taught his son the value of leverage, negotiation, and never admitting defeat. Donald absorbed those lessons early. At the New York Military Academy, he learned hierarchy and command. At Wharton School of Finance, he studied numbers, but more importantly, he studied perception. How value is often defined not by reality, but by belief. When Trump took over his father's business, he didn't just want to build apartments, he wanted monuments. He moved to Manhattan, where reputations are made and destroyed in public view. Trump Tower rose on Fifth Avenue like a declaration. Polished brass, mirrored glass, and his name towering over the city. It was real estate as theater. This was the first face of Trump, the builder of spectacle. In the 1980s, he became a symbol of American excess. Casinos in Atlantic City, lavish penthouses, private jets. He mastered a simple idea: attention is currency. When deals went well, he was a genius. When they failed, he reframed the story. Bankruptcy became strategic. Losses became lessons. Even failure, Trump understood, could be marketed. Then came the books. The Art of the Deal didn't just sell a business philosophy, it sold an identity. Trump was no longer just a developer. He was the deal maker, the man who always won, or at least convinced others he did. But behind the image was turbulence. Casinos collapsed, relationships fractured. His personal life became tabloid material. Trump was divorced, criticized, mocked, and yet never irrelevant. Each fall seemed to harden him, not humble him. That resilience, or refusal to retreat, became another face. In the early 2000s, Trump reinvented himself again. This time, not as a mogul, but as a judge. The Apprentice turned boardrooms into drama, and Trump into a weekly authority figure. Millions watched him deliver a phrase that became cultural shorthand for ruthless accountability. "You're fired." For many Americans, this was the Trump they loved. Decisive, confident, immune to political correctness. For others, it was performance masquerading as leadership. But what mattered most was that Trump was now in living rooms across the country. Familiar, recognizable, trusted by an audience that felt ignored by elites. That trust would change history. When Trump descended the escalator in 2015 and announced his run for president, few took him seriously. Commentators laughed. Pollsters dismissed him. Opponents underestimated him. Trump did not speak like a politician. He spoke like a challenger, angry, blunt, and unapologetic. And people listened. He tapped into something deep and unresolved: economic anxiety, cultural resentment, distrust of institutions. To his supporters, Trump was not polished because Polish felt fake. He said what others wouldn't. He attacked the media, mocked rivals, and broke every unwritten rule of politics. To his critics, this was precisely the problem. The 2016 election became a referendum not just on Trump, but on the system itself. Against all expectations, he won. The outsider took the Oval Office. The businessman became commander-in-chief. This was another face entirely, the disruptor of global politics. As president, Trump governed the way he campaigned, unpredictably. He withdrew from international agreements, challenged NATO allies, confronted China with tariffs, and moved the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. Supporters saw strength, critics saw chaos. Diplomats struggled to interpret a leader who treated geopolitics like negotiation tables, where pressure, surprise, and dominance mattered more than tradition. Trump's relationship with the media became a constant battlefield. He labeled unfavorable coverage fake news, turning journalism itself into a political actor. Love him or hate him, Trump dominated attention like no president before him. Every tweet could move markets, spark protests, or reshape foreign policy. Domestically, he delivered tax cuts, reshaped the federal judiciary, and rolled back regulations. To supporters, these were long overdue corrections. To opponents, they were dangerous dismantlings. The divide grew sharper, angrier, and more personal. Then came crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed every fault line in American society. Trump's response, part defiance, part improvisation, divided the nation further. Some admired his resistance to shutdowns. Others blamed him for minimizing the threat. By the 2020 election, the country was exhausted, polarized, and bracing for impact. Trump lost the election. What followed became one of the most controversial chapters in modern American history. Claims of fraud, legal challenges, a refusal to concede. And on January 6, 2021, chaos unfolded at the U.S. Capitol. The images shocked the world. For Trump's critics, this was the final proof of danger. For his supporters, it was evidence of persecution. Once again, two realities existed side by side. Trump left office, but not the stage. Legal battles mounted, investigations followed, indictments came. And yet Trump's influence did not fade. He remained the most dominant figure in American politics, shaping elections, controlling narratives, and redefining loyalty within his party. This is where the mystery deepens. How does a man surrounded by controversy remain adored by millions? Because Trump represents more than policies. To his supporters, he is defiance embodied, a rejection of elites, a symbol of resistance against institutions they believe failed them. He fights, even when losing. He never apologizes. In a world that feels unstable, that certainty is comforting. To his critics, Trump represents something else entirely: erosion of norms, encouragement of division, and the personalization of power. They fear not just the man, but what he unlocks in others. Globally, Trump changed how America is perceived. Allies learned they could no longer rely on predictability. Rivals learned unpredictability could be weaponized. Even after leaving office, his shadow looms over international relations, elections abroad, and political movements worldwide. Trump proved that modern power is not just military or economic, it is narrative. And narratives, once unleashed, do not disappear. Not a man easily defined, but a mirror, reflecting the hopes, anger, contradictions, and divisions of the world that created him. Trump left office, but not the stage. In American politics, exits are rarely permanent. And for Donald Trump, departure only sharpened the spotlight. As investigations multiplied and courtrooms replaced campaign rallies, many assumed his influence would finally wane. History had other plans. Against indictments, civil judgments, and relentless media scrutiny, Trump did what he had always done. He turned pressure into fuel. Each charge became proof in his telling that the system feared him. Each courtroom appearance transformed into a campaign message. Where other politicians might retreat, Trump advanced. And then came the return. Defying precedent, defying expectation, Donald Trump reclaimed the presidency, completing one of the most improbable comebacks in modern political history. No former U.S. president had ever lost an election, faced criminal charges, and returned to the Oval Office. Trump did all three. To supporters, this was vindication, a man rejected by elites but restored by voters. Proof that institutions could be challenged and beaten. To critics, it was a warning sign that outrage, repetition, and grievance could overpower norms, legality, and even gravity itself. The controversies did not disappear with his return. They intensified. Trump re-entered office with unresolved legal battles hanging over him like unresolved chapters. Court cases continued. Appeals dragged on. Questions about presidential immunity, executive power, and accountability dominated headlines. The presidency itself became entangled with the justice system in ways America had never experienced. Internationally, allies watched carefully. Some braced for disruption, others prepared for distance. Trump resumed his confrontational approach, skeptical of multinational agreements, blunt with allies, transactional with rivals. Diplomacy once again felt personal, improvised, and unpredictable. Global politics adjusted accordingly. Markets reacted to his statements. Governments recalibrated strategies around his moods and messages. Once more, a single speech or a single post could ripple across continents. At home, the divide deepened. Trump's second presidency did not calm the nation. It clarified it. Supporters viewed him as a survivor who proved the system could be beaten. Opponents viewed his return as confirmation that American democracy was entering uncharted territory. Every decision carried double meaning. Every controversy split into two truths. He spoke of restoring order while fueling confrontation. He promised strength while inviting resistance. He framed himself as both the most powerful man in the world and its most persecuted. This contradiction became the core of Trump's enduring power. He was simultaneously president and insurgent, authority and rebellion, institution and threat to institutions. No modern leader had occupied such opposing roles at once, and yet the pattern was familiar. Trump's life had always followed this rhythm: rise, rejection, return, real estate collapse, then resurgence, media ridicule, then dominance, electoral defeat, then political resurrection. Each fall hardened the mythology. This is why Donald Trump cannot be understood as a normal political figure. He is not just a leader. He is a phenomenon created by spectacle, grievance, loyalty, and constant motion. He thrives where rules blur, where outrage sustains attention, and where identity matters more than consensus. To some, he is the defender of a lost America. To others, the architect of its unraveling. To the world, he is proof that modern power is no longer quiet, dignified, or predictable. It is loud, personal, relentless. Trump's return to the presidency did not resolve the questions surrounding him. It amplified them. Questions about law and power, about truth and loyalty, about whether democracy bends or breaks under pressure. And still, he remains, loved with devotion, hated with intensity, studied, mocked, feared, admired. Donald Trump is not a single chapter in history, he is a recurring one. And as long as his name commands attention, as long as crowds gather and critics watch closely, one truth endures. The many faces of Donald Trump are not fading. They are multiplying. For more fascinating documentaries, like and subscribe to On This Day.